Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports with Monga, Mexican Grand Prix. After all the rumblings around the cost cap and so on, which you can check out my previous video, which I did earlier today regarding the FIA's finding and passing of penalties or giving of penalties to Red Bull for $7 million for, and also 10% cut on their aerodynamic testing because of the financial breach that they were found guilty of. Let's talk racing. Mexican Grand Prix qualifying, a familiar story on top in a way, but of course there's Homiro Checo Perez could not impress upon as much as everybody expected him to. Of course, it's not saying anything yet because it's still the race. It's a very difficult race. First of all, it's at a very high altitude. The tires behave in a very different fashion. It needs to be in a window for you to get the best of the track time. The track is very, very interesting. Goes through different corners, a very different straight, and end which is very peculiar, which is under the grandstand in a way. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting to see how this race will pan out. Of course, but then, and that's how it happened. Max Verstappen taking pole by pipping both Mercedes. They were extremely quick. They were really quick. George Russell starts next to Max Verstappen. P1 is Max. P2 on the qualifying was George Russell. Lewis Hamilton, P3. Checo Perez, P4. This race has been won by the best grid starting position has been P3 in the second row on the left side, which will go to Lewis Hamilton. But then they've been on a charge. Of course, Ferrari has been struggling. Ferrari was fifth and seventh actually, with Bottas pipping both Ferraris in the middle, kind of, and getting the P6 position. But of course, it'll be very interesting to see if Mercedes can bring the fight to Red Bull and get. But of course, Red Bull have their, like, Max is driving on a very different level right now. He's almost untouchable. The softs will be, I think, where they'll be starting off with, but it also becomes it's a two-stop or a medium. It's going to be a very strategic battle as well. How people go about it. Does anybody even go on hard? I don't think I saw anybody going on in the practice sessions to anybody going onto the hards or even trying them. So it almost feels like it's pretty much set on mediums and softs, I guess. But let's see how this race goes. Just to walk through: Max Verstappen, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz after that horrendous two last weekends. I hope he just kind of finishes the race, the Mexican Grand Prix, because after what happened in Suzuka and what happened in the Austin Grand Prix, it almost feels like he just needs to win. Just finishing is a win for him. He starts P5, Valtteri Bottas P6, Leclerc P7, Lando Norris P8, Fernando Alonso P9, Esteban Ocon P10, Daniel Ricciardo 11, 12 goes to Zhou Guanyu, Yuki Tsunoda's 13th, Pierre Gasly 14th, Kevin Magnussen 15. Mick Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel basically had similar times. That's why, Sebastian Vettel was knocked out of Q1 or couldn't make to Q2 basically. Mick Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll, and Alex Albon and Nicolas Latifi. Some grid penalties will be handed out later, and the starting grid will kind of change a little. I guess the only main change will be the last ones, in my mind. Stroll will start at the end because of the third of the grid penalty that he had because of causing a collision. The rest remains the same pretty much. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Looking forward to but then there is a very high chance that Mercedes can challenge for a win. That's a big question here, and I feel that of course it's going to be very interesting to see how they go. It's a long race. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how this will kind of pan out as well, and also go in this. Looking forward to this race. Do let me know your thoughts. How do you think? Who do you think will win? Is Max Verstappen too strong for Mercedes, or do you think Mercedes as a team can actually hold off Red Bull while they and then kind of win from there and actually get their first win of the season? It's pretty strange to actually say this out loud, that Mercedes has still not won. They've been on podiums pretty much almost all weekends. but then they've not won a race yet. It's still been between Red Bull and Ferrari, who have the bragging rights. Of course, Max Verstappen going for the 14th win of the season. That's only happened once before. He equaled Sebastian Vettel by winning the Austin Grand Prix with a 13 wins in a season. Can he do it to 14 and actually break the record of doing it 15? So that's going to be very interesting to see. With just 3 races remaining, it's not a lot of races in between left now. But then it's going to be very interesting to see how this season kind of ends. Mexican Grand Prix will be full of a lot of tacos and tequila around in the paddock. Will be pretty interesting to see how this ends up. And of course, for the home hero, Checo Perez, can he actually come up and win? It will be interesting to see if it comes to a point where it's Max Verstappen and Checo Perez trying to fight for the win. Do Red Bull actually allow Checo Perez to win this, like the only Mexican to ever win a Mexican Grand Prix? That'll be a huge deal. But let's see how this race turns out and plans out. Do let me know your thoughts and share your comments in the comment section below. Do share the video and subscribe, and let me know, who do you think will win? Can Mercedes challenge for a win?